Invest Thames Gateway, the lead international inward investment agency for the Thames Gateway, has launched a new report. Home to big ideas, the impact of major events on inward investment. I'm joined today by the report's author and renowned cities and regions expert, Greg Clark, to discuss the findings and the thinking behind the report. So, what's the rationale behind the report?
Well, the report starts with the observation that it's 2 years to go until the London Olympics. Much has been made of the potential of the Olympics to regenerate East London. But in this report, we decided to look really at the business benefits and the investment potential of the Olympics. And we did that essentially by looking at what had happened in other cities around the world that had hosted an Olympic Games or a World Cup or something similar, and asked the question more precisely, what kinds of companies have benefited and how have they done it?
So tell me a bit about the Thames Gateway.
Well, the Thames Gateway is both the host area for the London 2012 Olympics, and it's also the biggest redevelopment area in the whole of the UK. In the Thames Gateway already, we have the financial services centre at Canary Wharf. We have a growing creative and cultural industries cluster focused very much in the Greenwich Peninsula and in the Royal Docks. We have the emergence of the fastest growing clean tech services environment on the north side of the Thames. And we have an amazing logistics platform, including not just the existing infrastructure, but the growth of new ports and freight facilities of other kinds. Overall, the Olympic Games is going to accelerate the redevelopment of the Thames Gateway so that it can be the place where growth is possible in London and the South East.
Looking at the cities and regions that have hosted World Cups and Olympics in the past, can you give some best-in-class examples of businesses that have benefited most from their cities hosting a major event?
When we looked at Beijing, we obviously knew that Beijing was, in some senses, the emergence of the China market on the world stage. But world companies like GE decided to use the Beijing Olympics to really open themselves up to the Chinese market. So as part of the development of the big digital district in Beijing, GE's consolidated its China headquarters there, used the Olympic Games both to give itself exposure in China, but also started to provide services directly to the Olympic facilities. Very interesting. And lastly, we looked, of course, at Sydney, and the Olympic Park there has created an unusually attractive sort of business campus environment. And now the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, one of Australia's largest financial services institutions, has moved its headquarters function to there, very much because of the environment that an Olympic Park offers, creating amenity that staff and senior executives and indeed customers enjoy, enabling, increasing staff retention, enabling people to enjoy themselves before and after work as well as at lunchtime.
How exactly do the cities and regions covered in this report benefit most from hosting an Olympics or a World Cup?
Yeah, well, perhaps surprisingly, an Olympic Games or a World Cup makes an amazing contribution to the business environment in the place that hosts it. Firstly, because an event of this kind brings a real deadline, the world is going to visit on a certain date sometime in the future. This creates first a pace that's very important to business. It provides returns more quickly than is otherwise possible. It also creates certainty. Because one knows the event is going to happen, it means that the allied and associated activities will happen on time. That's good for business because it mirrors commercial disciplines. And then finally, the scale of development that occurs because of an Olympic Games or a World Cup provides such a range of opportunity that business is able to take up several things simultaneously. Now, alongside that, there are other kinds of benefits. The first one is obviously improvements in the quality of local SMEs as a supply chain. They become more competitive, more productive. Local labour force often becomes better skilled, more interested in long-term employment opportunities. And then, of course, the public sector provides a huge amount in terms of infrastructure, land use planning, the creation of new development sites, and large-scale public investment with which private investment can then be partnered.
Returning to London and the Thames Gateway, how will the Olympic Games benefit the Thames Gateway's inward investment offer?
Well, as any inward investor will tell you, it really is about location. And it's very easy to forget that the 2012 London Games are actually in the Thames Gateway. And from our perspective, it's fantastic for us to be able to show that the Thames Gateway is very easily accessible from London, and also from an inward investor who may not know the geography of the UK that well. They'll obviously know London, and for them to understand that the Thames Gateway is right next door is a really positive asset for us. Moreover, the Games is clearly spawning a whole range of different business sectors and industries as we speak. I mean, if you look out there, you can see that there's a whole range of different business activities going on, and this provides a very positive momentum for any inward investor coming in, looking for business opportunities, looking for supply chain opportunities. And I think it's that momentum more than anything which is really going to benefit the Thames Gateway over the next 5 to 10 years.
In summary, what are the next steps for the region?
There's no question that this is a major step change for the Thames Gateway. Having a major global event like this going on really gives us an opportunity to showcase the region, give people a better understanding of what's here, and more importantly, to really show how government investment and the commitment of the UK to making this work has actually given them a heaven-sent opportunity to come here, take advantage of the improvement in transport, take advantage in the logistics of the place being that much easier for them to get around in. And from an inward investor, it really takes the risk out of any location decision.